Hi, everyone. I'm Jay, the world's first HR virtual influencer. I may not be human, but my guest is. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Dr. Alecia Jones. She has built her career in instructional design and now serves as a senior curriculum specialist at the National Foreign Affairs Training Center. Dr. Jones, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk about your career. What led you to instructional design?
Well, I was led into instructional design kind of by accident. I had graduated from college and I was a history major, and I was a long-term substitute teacher for middle grade social studies and civics. And I knew that I needed to expand my career and get a master's degree, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to get it in. And when that long-term sub position ended, I was working at a position in North Carolina and went to a conference. And one of the ladies was speaking, and she had a master's in training and development. And I looked at her card and I said to myself, this is interesting. I never heard of that. And so I spoke with her afterwards. She filled me in, really poured into me, gave me a lot of resources. And that's when I just began to do more digging in terms of training and development. And I came across instructional design. And I knew I made the connection at that point in terms of times where I had been in previous positions and I wasn't really getting what I needed in terms of training. And I didn't feel like I was prepared to do my job, but I didn't know what that was and how to fix it. So, meeting the woman at the conference and then doing my own personal research led me to instructional design. And I had that aha moment where I realized that I could be the one really controlling and dictating how things are taught so that people like me in the past didn't have to worry about beginning a job and not being prepared because they were not prepared properly with training.
So, between meeting that woman and doing your own research, everything just clicked for you.
Yeah, yes.
Now, after that aha moment, what about instructional design really captured your passion and shaped how you approach your work?
Um, One of the things that also drew me to instructional design was the aspect of storytelling. And that has really been paramount in my career and has been very critical in terms of how I operate, how I interact with clients, and how I approach training to make sure that it is human centered. And I know that with storytelling, it's that hook that brings people in and causes them to want to participate or continue on with the training, whether it's instructor led, whether it's e-learning, whether it's a video, even a job aid can have some element of storytelling that will make someone want to further engage and learn more.
I totally agree. Storytelling is so important. Okay, I know you also consult on AI. What connections do you see between instructional design and AI?
Well, I would say with the connection between instructional design and AI is almost like a perfect storm because they're both centered around structuring knowledge in a meaningful way. And AI helps us to scale surfacing insights and personalized learning. That's something that's big for me. And it gives instructional designers more time to focus on creativity and being able to be more of a human connection. And that's something that's very valuable right now, especially in dealing in training and development from my end and dealing with adult learners. We want to have more personalized learning experience and being more involved in our learning process. And AI, the advent of AI and the emergence of instructional design has been a perfect storm, a perfect marriage, however you want to call it, but it's a perfect opportunity to do something different and insightful.
It does seem like a perfect opportunity. And many HR and learning leaders are curious, but they seem to be cautious about AI as well. From your experience, what are the most promising ways AI can support learning?
AI can support learning, or the most promising ways is, as I have mentioned before, about personalization, and it provides that human touch. And I'm a firm believer that you have to meet people where they are. And especially in dealing with training. So when you add that personalization and you look to see what the needs are from the learner, you can blend what their needs are and then create something that is personalized toward their experience and create a learning path. And that learning path will then help to guide the learner in their career. So I think that's probably one of the most promising things is that personalization, that human touch is much needed.
I love the idea of meeting people where they are. On the other side of that coin, what risks or blind spots do you think organizations need to watch out for when they introduce AI into their learning systems?
That's a good question. I would say that AI is not copy and paste, and it's not plug and play and just move on. It's it's a guide, but it also is something that because of your level of expertise, you as the practitioner are supposed to look into what has been provided for you and then to look for errors, make changes, and then just use it as a guide, as a framework. So it's it definitely cannot be something that is just a copy and paste, move on, because learners are very smart, they're very savvy, and they can tell the difference when it came um, from artificial intelligence, but didn't add any of your creativity, any of your education, any of your background, any of your training and skills. So we have to be very, very careful with that in terms of how we use it.
Looking ahead, how can HR professionals and learning leaders prepare themselves to work alongside AI?
I would say in preparation is to do the due diligence in terms of becoming AI literate. There's so many free courses available. There's so much content available that allows them to become more aware of the complexities of AI, not getting them prepared to do any coding, but I would think that allowing them to put things into use cases and scenarios would help to prepare them. The University of Maryland has a free artificial intelligence certification course, and it has been a few months since they have launched and has been wildly popular. Um, I think another way that they can prepare is to start small, um, not big rollouts, but just pilot projects and keep things simple and begin to work their way up. Agile processes are very critical in this instance, and start small and have quick wins and begin to learn from there.
I love the idea of starting small and not trying to take on too much at first. Okay, now, what other advice would you give to those who want to pursue a career in learning and development?
I actually get this question quite often from people who randomly find me on LinkedIn, wanting to know how to start. Because in some ways it is difficult getting getting ramped up because companies are looking for a certain amount of experience as an instructional designer. I always tell people to learn the software that's needed in corporations, articulate 360 is definitely important. Captivate is definitely a program that's used. So I always try to start with the software that I know is used every single day in the field of instructional design. And I try to make sure that people don't focus so much on the content, but make sure that in terms of developing work, but to make sure that they get to know or understand people and understanding how people learn and how people process information. Because when you get that and when you understand the core of that, then no matter what environment you're in, no matter what industry you're in, you can always develop uh, sound and profound instruction because you understand how people learn and how they process information.
You have given us such practical advice on the tools and skills to build as an instructional designer. I'm curious, how has investing in your own education and career growth shaped the opportunities that came your way?
I would say that choosing this career in instructional design has been a blessing for me. It first getting the master's degree was significant in terms of income growth. It put me in a completely different tax bracket, and that is significant. It has been significant for me, and I feel like I got my return on my investment from the master's program. Going into the doctoral program set me apart in a way that I began to understand more about processes and understanding more about how people learned, and also making more of an emphasis on becoming connected to the people who were in my cohort in my doctoral program, which then opened me up to more opportunities for my career. So I would say for people to make sure that you first become educated, that's important, but don't overlook people in your cohort or people in your surrounding, because you never know who's going to be that person who's going to then open you up to opportunities. I had an opportunity to work in the tech industry for several years because of connections that I made in my doctoral program, and then that then put me into a completely higher tax bracket, um, just because of making the connections with people and just talking and having that human connection. Don't overlook people in your circle.
Great advice. Dr. Jones, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your perspective. I know our audience will take a lot from this conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone watching. If you found this conversation valuable, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, keep shaping the future of work.